FYF Sportsman. It's Lamont. We back. Man, we back with another episode, man. We got a crazy video for you guys today. This video right here is definitely gonna explain it all. It's gonna explain why I do my videos on the 90s, why I troll 90s fans. This video is absolutely gonna explain it all. And when I heard this, obviously, FYF Fred, he still, he brought this to my attention. I was listening in after he brought it to my attention. And I mean, some of the things that people say, to elevate Michael Jordan, it's getting more ridiculous and more ridiculous. Before we get started with the video, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to the video if you have not done so already. We are grinding. All right. We're slowly grinding up, getting close to 16K. The goal is 20K. All right. The big goal is getting to 100K, but we're going to keep grinding until we get there. Appreciate everyone who's been jumping in the live streams. I apologize for the last live stream. I think there were some issues with YouTube. All the YouTube videos or live streams were lagging for whatever reason. I don't think that's going to be a consistent problem. So if you experienced that video is still up. You can go rewatch it if you missed anything. That was the video on Isaiah Thomas and his statement on Michael Jordan. So just make sure you go check that out if you were having technical difficulties and you want to rewatch it. But today we got a video right here. It's just another reaction video. You know what we like to do here at FYF Sports. Our goal, we don't just break news. We don't just talk about the NBA. We don't just cry about LeBron James. We also like to debate. Y'all see FYF debates. So when we hear things, regardless of who it is, when we hear things, when we hear chatter out there on the internet, we like to address it. That's what we do here at FYF Sports. And I just think, we already spoke on Scottie Pippen. We spoke on how 90s fans will belittle Scottie Pippen to elevate what Jordan did. They don't want to give Scottie Pippen his credit for being one of the greatest defenders of our era. They don't want to give him that credit. They don't want to give him credit for being a great playmaker, a great passer, everything that Jordan wasn't great at. Scottie Pippen was there to pick up. He was there to pick up those stones. And so I was listening into this conversation right here. And the conversation turned to Dennis Rodman. And I heard one of the most ridiculous, I'm not even going to say ridiculous, this has to be one of the stupidest basketball statements or takes that I've ever heard in my life. And this is the number one reason why 90s fans, and I'm not even going to say 90s fans, because some 90s fans, especially ones that come to my channel and we're in the live stream, you guys actually have some valid points. We're just going to stick to who we're talking about right here. Y'all see the name right here, TicketTV. TicketTV probably made one of the dumbest statements in basketball history, hands down. This has to be one of the dumbest, most ridiculous statements that I've ever heard. It's the worst take on basketball that I've ever heard in my life. All right. And the player that we're about to be listening on is Dennis Rodman. And I want you guys to listen. We're we're just going to listen to this. And it's going to be hard to listen to because of how stupid it is. Like I said, I've never heard someone make up such a ridiculous statement just to cap for Michael Jordan, because again, I think this conversation again revolved around the help that Michael Jordan had. All right. And so in complaining, in talking about the help that Michael Jordan had, as he always does, he has to diminish what those other guys actually were able to do. So when we talk about the Scottie Pippens and the Horace Grants and the Dennis Rodmans and the Ron Harpers and guys like that, for whatever reason, and this is absolutely unnecessary, because no one, even fans of today, fans of old, no one is diminishing what Jordan is doing. So why they take it upon themselves to denigrate and downgrade a guy like Dennis Rodman, all to boost Jordan up, it just blows my mind. But I want you to listen to this take. Again, this is of 2020, this is the worst basketball take that I've heard. It's the worst basketball take. It's not backed by any logic. It's not backed by any video. It's not backed by any player. There's no one else. The only person that will probably back this up are the people that agree with everything he says. I can see James or Will possibly agreeing with this statement. Outside of those two, absolutely no one in the world will agree with this statement right here. It just completely blew my mind when I heard it. We're going to get to the video, and as we do, what we're going to do is we're going to play this. Once we play this, we're going to get to the facts, right? Because again, there are a lot of people that listen to this. All right, I know it's entertainment, so I know you probably don't take them too seriously. But there are some people that actually will take this home and actually will repeat it somewhere. And so to avoid you guys, I'm going to save you the time so you don't say this in front of anybody else to look absolutely ridiculous or stupid. What we're going to do is we're not just going to show you the video, but we're going to show you the accolades, the compliments, the metrics. We're going to break down everything, right? So that these guys, they already done their best to denigrate Scottie Pippen. We cannot let them do that to Dennis Rodman. But I want you guys to listen in on what they had to say, or what Ticket had to say about Dennis Rodman.
Rebounding machine. That's it.
Saying, man.
Dennis Rodman. Hold on, time out. Dennis Rodman was a rebounding machine. Dennis Rodman was never. He was a poor offensive player. He was never a good all-ball defensive player. The only hold on, time out.
Go ahead.
What did Dennis Rodman do good? All he did good was rebound. Everything else he did was hit people, kick people. Hold on, grab people when they nuts. Hold on, time out. I'm asking. No, he was not a good defender. Dennis Rodman was an agitator. He was a dude that grabbed your balls, grabbed your ass cheeks, all that other stuff. Dennis Rodman one-on-one got his fucking ass cooked his whole career, and I can prove it.
He was one of the greatest rebounders ever.
I can prove it. That's it. Rebounders.
Against certain players.
Hold on. Time out. Listen. I want you to listen again. I want you to listen. Hold on. Listen one more time. Rebounders. Dennis Rodman was not a great on-ball defender, and I can prove it. Guess why? All you got to do is go look up the stats when he was guarding guys one-on-one. It's on you. It's on Google. Scottie Pippen Dennis Rodman stayed getting scorched one-on-one. Stayed getting scorched. Now, I got the numbers to prove it because I went and looked them motherfuckers up. Just for niggas like you coming here lying about Dennis Rodman being a great on-ball defender. Dennis Rodman was an agitator. Anytime Dennis Rodman played any of those niggas one-on-one, he got his fucking ass destroyed. Sean Kemp destroyed that nigga in the NBA.
All right. TicketTV is making the claim that Dennis Rodman was not a great defender. He was just an agitator. You're talking about a guy who was a back-to-back defensive player of the year. You're talking about a guy who was on the defensive first team, I think, 8 years. And he made the defensive second team once. So he was on the defensive team over half his career in the NBA. He could easily guard 1 through 5. One of the hardest workers that you'll ever see. He sacrificed any type of scoring to give up his body defensively, to take charges, to take on any assignment. This is one of the bright spots of the 90s. Dennis Rodman is one of the bright spots of the 90s. He's arguably the best defender of the 90s. I mean, and I say arguable because you had David Robinson, you had Hakeem Olajuwon, and you had Dennis Rodman, along with Scottie Pippen and Gary Payton. Those are probably your top 5 defenders of the 90s. And as you guys just heard right here, I mean, I don't know if it's just to sound right. I don't know if it's just to boost Jordan. But when you say things like this, so I want all you guys to understand this. When you say things like this, that makes everything else that you're about to say, whether it's true or false, absolutely not credible at all, especially when it comes to the game of basketball. I cannot take your basketball opinion seriously if you let those words come out your mouth that Dennis Rodman was not a good defender, especially on ball defender. He was laterally one of the quickest players that I've ever seen defensively. I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't know the point in saying this because, again, a lot of people say that I have hate for the 90s. Okay, let's say I do have hate for the 90s, which I don't. I'm not going to be stupid enough. I'm not going to be that person to say that Dennis Rodman wasn't a good defender. He was a great defender. He's one of the greatest defenders of all time. Of all time. How do you confuse somebody who's one of the greatest defenders of all time, and what are you not seeing? What are you not seeing that we all are seeing? This is not just my opinion. You know, you're somebody who brings a lot of old retired NBA players on your show. Why don't you try asking them that question right there? And why don't you tell them your opinion on Dennis Rodman so that they can see how stupid you are with regards to basketball knowledge? That is one of the dumbest things that I've ever heard with regards to basketball in my entire life. That's absolutely stupid. And I tried, as soon as I heard that, I tried to come on to the live panel. I tried to come on, he blocked me. He blocked me from the panel. You know, he always says, I guess I'm considered to be a hater. He wants his haters to pull up. I tried to pull up. He was scared to have that conversation. So I have to make this video because I couldn't confront you here. You know, I hit the cash app. You didn't want to announce the cash app. So we couldn't even have that conversation. I couldn't even get my point across there. That's fine. I mean, to each his own. I'm not tripping on that. But it's my obligation to say something about it. You know, as the founder of FYF Sports, man, I cannot let you say something that's stupid. And we can't fact check what you're saying. That has to be fact checked. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you a chance to elaborate on one of the dumbest basketball takes that I've ever heard in my life. I'm going to play a little bit more of this video. Maybe you'll say something to redeem yourself for making this ridiculous comment. I highly doubt that you are. Me being able to predict what he's going to do. What he's going to do next is he's probably going to, right before I paused the clip, I heard him say Sean Kemp. He's probably going to start naming individual players, probably about 4 players from the 90s, and just start yelling out individual game stats. Trying to say, oh, because he had a good game, Rodman's not a good defender. As if Rodman is supposed to play a full 82 game season, shutting people down. Again, at the end of the day, it's regardless of how you look at it. When you're talking about the totality of someone's career, you can't hand pluck matchups or games and use that as your reason to justify he wasn't a good defender. That doesn't make a good defender. Right? Anybody that knows basketball is going to tell you that Dennis Rodman is one of the best defenders of all time. He had some of the toughest assignments of all time. But let's go ahead and hear this out. As soon as we hear this nonsense out, what we're going to do is we're going to go to, obviously we got to go to the whiteboard. We're going to go to the drawing board. We're going to pull up the facts on this man. Because you cannot be spewing stuff out there like this. Again, I always tell you guys, Jordan is the GOAT. You don't need to say that Dennis Rodman was not a good defender to boost or elevate Jordan. Dennis Rodman wasn't just a good defender. He was a Hall of Fame, great type of defender. This is one of the things that got him into the Hall of Fame. The fact that he was one of the greatest defenders of all time, along with being the greatest rebounder of all time. He wasn't just a rebounder. That's a lie. But let's go ahead and hear him out. Please, James. I don't want to include you in this either. I please hope that you don't chime in on this to double down on this ridiculous statement. But unfortunately, I have a feeling that either you or William are going to partner in and join in on this ridiculous basketball take. But let's go ahead and hear it out.
Be a fun.
Malone,
right or wrong?
that nigga.
Right or wrong? Hold on, time out. Sean Kemp destroyed Dennis Rodman in the finals. Right or wrong?
Yeah, tough time with him.
Okay. Karl Malone destroyed that nigga. Right or wrong?
Had a tough time with him as well.
I'm asking you. Karl Malone destroyed him. Right or wrong?
Yeah, man, he had a tough time with him. The
Bro,
point
they
is
average
that,
more than. Hold on, time out.
They're gonna get the numbers.
Them niggas average. Hold on, time out. Them niggas average more than they average in the regular season in the playoffs against that nigga. Fuck is you talking about?
Yeah, it's not the best of matchups for Dennis Rodman, but that's
So
not
okay, so he's not. Hold on. So hold on, whole town. So shut the fuck up, then, bitch. That means he's not a great defender like you say he is, ho. If you talking about he had tough matchup, nigga, I ain't trying to hear that shit. I can keep going down the line, nigga. What Dennis Rodman look like against Akeem? What he look like against Patrick Ewing? They was getting his ass killed, man. Cut this shit out, bro. Then the only thing Dennis Rodman was doing was grabbing niggas' balls and doing all that crazy ass shit to get you mentally out of the game.
But
he was never a good on-ball defender, bro. He was never a good one-on-one post defender, bro.
Right.
Bro, a good one-on. He was never a good shot blocker. The man ain't blocked no shots.
So,
Ticket, are you saying that Dennis Rodman is not a legendary player?
I didn't say that, nigga. Who said that?
Okay.
I said Dennis Rodman. Hold on. Don't put no words in my mouth. I don't want you to do that, bitch. You say exactly what the fuck I said, nigga. I said Dennis Rodman was not a good on-ball defender, and Dennis Rodman was not a good offensive player. Only thing he was a great rebounder. That's it. He was not a good shot blocker. Go look at his shot blocks. This nigga was not a great defender. Only thing he did was agitate niggas, get technical fouls, and rebound his ass off. That's it.
Okay, that was a very important role playing for the Bulls.
Trouble
now,
roll, get it again. Roll, motherfucker.
Exactly.
Roll. That's not super. Because I'm gonna bring old school nigga in here. I'm gonna bring an old school nigga in here next week. Hold on, bro. Hold on, Will. Hold on, Will. I'm gonna bring an old school nigga in here next week that's gonna eat your ass on Dennis Rodman. And you know the old school nigga. And he got much respect. He gonna tell you Dennis Rodman was the greatest rebounder they ever seen. The nigga was a horrible on-ball defender. Period. Everybody in the league knew it. The only thing he had was the result of antics. But when Karl Malone and them niggas was killing this nigga, only thing you do is kick them niggas, trip them niggas up, and grab their balls. That's it. Dennis Rodman was too flaily and too skinny to guard them niggas like that in the post, man. Fuck out of here, man. Nobody won't hear that shit. Everybody seen that shit. I name any nigga he went against. Hey, yo, James.
What's up?
Name me one nigga, and I'm gonna give you the head-to-head matchup right now with Dennis Rodman. I'm gonna give you the hit when Dennis Rodman was checking that nigga. You give me one nigga in NBA history, I got it right now. Name the best nigga. I'm gonna cook this nigga elder. Name the best niggas right now. Name the niggas.
Hold up, we said Karl Malone, Charles.
Okay, hold on. Let's start right there. Let's start right there, right? So Dennis.
You know, it's sad. It's sad. You know, this is what's getting so sad. This is what's so sad that no one's willing to actually open their mouth. Elders having to shout it from the chat that he's absolutely wrong on Dennis Rodman. It's absolutely sad. You know, that not James, William, this other New York guy, which if they're both from New York or New Jersey, I don't expect neither one of these guys to know anything about basketball. That no one's stepping up to correct that immediately. That's sad. All right. I'm highly disappointed in it because it's a basketball debate show. The fact that you would allow somebody to say that Dennis Rodman was a bad defender, you've got to be one of the dumbest fucking basketball analysts in the world. You literally have to be retarded. You know what we're gonna do is I'm not even gonna waste too much time. I don't need to hear any more of this nonsense. It's completely asinine. It makes no sense at all. We're just gonna go over. We're gonna go to the drawing board because what we're gonna do is first we're gonna break down footage of Dennis Rodman. And once we break down the footage of Dennis Rodman, we're going to break down the stats. Again, this is just to keep you guys informed because I know some of you guys like to go over to this channel for the entertainment value. It is very funny. It is comical. You know, there are a lot of characters there. You will get good laughs. You won't come away with a lot of basketball knowledge. So I'm just here to, again, correct people. You know, you can call us the Adjustment Bureau. We like to adjust things, set people straight. You know, make sure they headed right on the right path, on the straight and narrow. That's what we do here, especially when it comes to the basketball facts. And this is coming from somebody who I've been highly critical of the 90s. It's sad that I got to be the one to defend the players. You guys spend so much time telling us that the 90s was this great defensive era. And then you take one of your best defenders and say that he wasn't a great defender. You take one of your top 5 defenders of the 90s and you sit here and tell us he wasn't a top 5 defender. I don't understand the logic there. Like, what are you guys trying to prove? Are you trying to prove my point? Are you trying to prove that the 90s just wasn't as good as it was? Are you guys lying about this so-called defense? Or can you just not be honest about the skill sets of other players because you don't want to admit that Jordan actually had a super team? It's sad either way. It's absolutely sad either way that you go to these links. All right. It's absolutely sad. And then you hide behind a veil that you have video and you have information. I really want to see this video and I want to see these facts on Dennis Rodman that indicate that he was a bad defender. And I want to see who these players are that are willing to tell you he wasn't a good defender. I really want to see this. I'm curious to see what player is really willing to step out on that limb and say something that stupid. I don't know. Let's get to the drawing board, though. All right, so we have a video here. Dennis Rodman. Just want to emphasize his defense. I want to show you guys how great he was. Again, this is just a small sample size of what he can do. This really doesn't even do him justice. It doesn't even do him justice. But let's just check this out. This is going to help you, give you a type of understanding of what type of defender he was. Lateral quickness right here. This is on Magic Johnson. He was elite on his feet, excellent on ball, great anticipation. Charge. Great defensive play on a Magic Johnson. This is Dennis Rodman on Michael Jordan. On Michael Jordan. Slides. Gets the steal. On Michael Jordan again. Slides. Creates the turnover. On Magic Johnson. Slide. Gets the charge. He's not good on ball. Didn't we just hear Ticket say that? He's not good on ball. Picking up full court. Willing to pick up full court. Will slide in the backcourt. He's not good on ball. What is this? He's not good on ball on Larry Bird. Picking up Magic full court. Picking up Magic Johnson full court. He's not good on ball. Picking up Scottie Pippen full court. He's not good on ball. Can fight over any screen. He gets skinny. Good coach will tell you that. Great. We're going to watch his closeouts right here. Closing out on one of the best shooters in the game. Slides his feet. Creates the miss. Watch this. Closeout. High hands. Let's go. Good. Great D. Chasing shooters. Uses link to contest. On Jordan again. Contests. Blocks the shot. No airspace. Gives opponents zero space. Stays attached. Guarding Larry Bird again. On Jordan again. This is Rodman guarding Jordan. This is Rodman guarding Jordan again. Makes opponents uncomfortable with on-ball pressure. Isn't that good? Isn't that good one-on-one defense? Creates the miss. Pushes Bird from the block to the three-point line. That means he fights even off ball. Interior defense. Look how he fighting the big. Look how he fights the big. Takes away the post. That's excellent defense. Makes it hard for Shaq. He doesn't get buried. That's one thing Shaq was great at. He would bury you under the rim. He couldn't move Rodman. He can't move Rodman. No easy catches. Fights into three-quarter denials. Look at him fighting with Shaq one-on-one. Fighting. That's Kareem. Great lower body strength. On Shaq again. Fighting. Still defending. Great defense. Couldn't move him. Stands his ground after the catch. Walls up. Great coaches will tell you about walling up. Walls up great. Forces the miss. That's great defense. Holds his ground. Charge. Off-ball defense. We just went over on-ball defense. Forces to travel. On Magic Johnson.
Dennis Rodman has been so productive. And Rodman.
All right, so you guys just saw the video footage. You saw multiple examples of Dennis Rodman having the toughest assignment on the court. You saw him in different variations of defense. It wasn't just interior. It wasn't just on ball. It wasn't just off ball. You saw him making great plays off ball. You saw him guarding great players, including Michael Jordan. On ball, you saw him guarding great post players like Shaq on multiple possessions. That's the making of a great defender. Can you guys name me another player in NBA history that can go from guarding Michael Jordan on the perimeter to guarding Shaq on the low post to guarding Larry Bird on the three-point line? Like, can you guys? Do we have another defender that's that versatile? Scottie Pippen was one of the most versatile defenders in NBA history, and he couldn't even guard the low post the way Dennis Rodman could. As great of a defender that Scottie Pippen was, he did not win Defensive Player of the Year one time in his career. I don't understand where this logic comes from. So he wasn't good on ball, but we showed you multiple times on ball, not just against average players, but against Bird, but against Magic, and against Jordan. This is how great he was. What coach is going to allow you to pick up a Scottie Pippen full court? What coach is going to allow you to pick up a Magic Johnson full court if you're not a great defender? But yet, if you listen to TicketTV and one of the worst takes ever on basketball that I've ever heard in my life, then you will be led to believe that this man couldn't guard a Karl Malone or a Sean Kemp. There's a difference between a player having a good game on you and you being a bad defender. LaBradford Smith had a good game on Michael Jordan and scored, I think, almost 40 points. Doesn't mean Michael Jordan's not a great defender. If you look at Gary Payton, Clyde Drexler, Reggie Miller, Michael Jordan, Mitch Richmond, all of these guys had good games on Gary Payton. It does not mean that Gary Payton's not a good defender. These are elite offensive talents. Just simply respect that. Overall, Gary Payton was one of the best defenders of the 90s. I'm not going to handpick single matchups, especially some of the most some of the hardest matchups that he's ever had, and pick those out to say or make a case that he's not a good defender. That makes no sense at all. The logic of handpicking out single games or single matchups makes no sense when you're looking at someone's overall talent and someone's overall career with regards to a certain skill set. it's terrible logic. It's terrible basketball reasoning. It makes no sense. It's unfortunate that no one was able to check him on that immediately. You know. But you'll have the nerve to criticize someone who's a LeBron fan and will use his statistics to justify how great he is. But you don't even know the greatness of one of your own players of the 90s. That makes no sense. It's terrible logic. It's bad reasoning. Right here, we're going to go over Dennis Rodman's accolades. All right. You know, and we're talking about in a time frame when Dennis Rodman wasn't liked very much. The media had no reason to give Dennis Rodman these awards. So we can't say it's media bias or he pushed for these awards because he wanted them. No, he actually earned all of these awards. All right. So for one, Rodman's in the Hall of Fame. He was inducted in 2011. All right. He made the All-Star team twice. All right. He has multiple championships, 5 to be exact. All right. So now we're going into his accolades. He was back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year. See, this is back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year. You could say once, yeah, he was back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year. We only see guys like Kawhi and Hakeem Olajuwon, those types of defenders actually accomplishing that. It's extremely difficult to do back-to-back years. He was All-Defensive Team in 88-89. He was Defensive Player of the Year and First Team All-Defense 89-90. He was Defensive Player of the Year and First Team All-Defense 90-91. He was not just a rebounds leader, not just third team All-NBA, but he was all defensive first team, 91-92. Rebounds leader again, 92-93, all defensive first team, 92-93. But you guys, you say that he wasn't a good defender. He's living on the defensive first team in the 90s. If he's on the defensive first team and you have the nerve to say that he was a bad defender, then what does that say about the rest of the defenders of the 90s? You're basically saying that that era was just absolutely trash on defense. If Dennis Rodman was bad on defense or not a good defender, then what are you saying about the 4 other guys on that defensive first team? This is just silly. So 92-93, all defensive first team, rebounds leader. 93-94, rebounds leader again, all defensive second team. It's just ridiculous because we can continue to go down this list. 94-95, rebounds leader, all NBA, all defensive first team in 94-95, 95-96, rebounds leader. This is with Michael Jordan. This is when he played with Jordan. He's still on the defensive first team. And he was still the rebounds leader in 96-97 and 97-98, even though he was getting older. And this is when he's 37 and 38 years old. All the way up until he was 37, the man was first team all defense. All the way up until the man was 37 years old, he was first team all defense. But you have people from the 90s that are willing to make the most outlandish statement that they can to say he wasn't a good defensive player. Did you guys just see those clips? I want to know what video evidence can you show me where he wasn't a good defender? Or are you going to use the weakest possible argument that you can and handpick 5, 10, even 20 games out of maybe the 1,000 games that he played? Dennis Rodman played 15 seasons in the NBA. And you guys are handpicking single matchups against Hakeem, Carmelo, and Sean Kemp, some of the greatest offensive players of the 90s, as if no one else struggled against these guys. You're talking about Dennis Rodman was on a Spurs team with David Robinson, who was also one of the top 5 defenders of the 90s. And they had Dennis Rodman guarding Hakeem Olajuwon. You have David Robinson on your team, but you put Dennis Rodman on Hakeem Olajuwon. That just tells you what people thought about his defense. So I don't want to hear this silliness. I don't want to hear this silliness. All right, the man was one of the greatest defensive players of all time. Hands down, no questions about it. You cannot say he wasn't good on ball. He was excellent on ball. He had great lateral quickness. He had great hands. He had great anticipation. He had great timing. Was able to take charges. Was able to agitate you. Was able to switch. Was able to communicate. Every attribute that you need to be a great defensive player, he had it. He would be a great defensive player in this era. With his quickness, as we saw in that clip, he has the ability and the speed and quickness to close out to the three-point line. He had the quickness to close out on Bird on the three-point line. He had the quickness to stay in front of Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson. He had the strength to play post defense on Shaquille O'Neal. This is why I say he's the greatest defender of all time. Now, again, it's arguable. You can probably put an Akeem Olajuwon up there. You can probably put David Robinson up there. Maybe Scottie Pippen. But when you're talking about somebody who could guard 1 through 5, I just showed you clips. All right. Name another power forward who had the quickness and strength, who could pick up Magic Johnson or Larry Bird full court. Can y'all please tell me what player could do that? Again, when people say stuff like this, how come y'all don't say nothing right there? Like, are y'all scared to talk? Are y'all scared to voice a real opinion? Do y'all allow people to say this nonsense? And again, this is coming from somebody who I admit that I've been highly critical of the 90s because of how you over-glorify it. But you don't need to diminish Dennis Rodman. Like, it's a no-brainer. This is like a no-brainer right here. You don't even have to look at stats. Players will tell you this. Coaches will tell you this. That he's easily a top 5 defender of all time. And this is in an era. He won 2 back-to-back defensive players of the year in an era where centers mostly won it. But you guys give credit to Gary Payton for his 1 defensive player of the year as a guard. Dennis Rodman was what? 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". It kind of varied. I would say in between. I think he was about 6'5". He was the size of a guard and won back-to-back defensive player of the year in a big man era. No credit for that. No credit at all for that. And this is, again, I don't know if you guys are blind to what real defense is, because you guys are the same people that told me Charles Barkley was good on defense. You guys are the same people that told me Dominique Wilkins was great on defense. Both of those guys played no defense. I want to know where you guys get this logic from, and why. And why did no one on the panel confront you with that illogical statement? Again, I want somebody. I want you guys to find a dumber basketball take. If you can find a dumber basketball take, I'll give you a $25 cash out. If you can find a more ridiculous, a more asinine, a stupid basketball take, that's a $25 cash app. Who could ever comes up with a dumber basketball take than what TicketTV said when he said that Dennis Rodman was not a good defensive player, he could only rebound. Please, I want you guys to really go search. I want you to go search YouTube, search the internet, and try to find a dumber basketball take, because it's not any more obvious. It's extremely obvious how great Dennis Rodman was on defense. The way he plays defense is still used today. The way he plays defense it actually can still translate in today's game. He's one of the few defenders of the 90s that could easily transfer into an era like today where players are bigger, faster, and stronger. Because Dennis Rodman was just as fast and just as strong. This is, it's sad, It's sad what's going on over there. It's absolutely ridiculous, I had to make this video, because, again, FYF Sports, we have to call stuff like this out. And I implore you, if you're watching this video and if you disagree with me, we go live every day. I don't block people. I invite everybody into my chat, whether I agree with you or not. and we can talk about it. If you feel that I'm wrong, if you also feel that Dennis Rodman was not a good defender, please come into my live chat and let's really talk about this. I really need to figure this out. All right. But this is the prime example of what I mean by people try to diminish players who played with Michael Jordan just to elevate what Michael Jordan was. They want to say so bad that Jordan didn't have a super team or he didn't have great players that they're willing to go as far as saying that players like Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman weren't great. Jordan made Pippen. Oh, Rodman wasn't a good defensive player. This was just all Jordan doing the work. Oh, it had nothing to do with Phil Jackson's philosophy or offensive schemes. It was just Jordan doing all the work. Well, Jordan was so great, he took on all the toughest defensive assignments. Yet I've just showed you clips of Dennis Rodman guarding Michael Jordan successfully on multiple possessions. That just what that goes to show is, and I'm not saying that he shut Jordan down. I'm not saying Jordan didn't score 30 that game. His job is to agitate. His job is to slow a guy down. You know, when Jordan looks like he's on the verge of scoring 40, Dennis Rodman can slow a guy down enough to where you only score 27. You know, when Jordan's cooking and he's on a hot streak and that team is making a run, possibly coming back, you can switch Dennis Rodman onto him to slow down and kill that run. Get your team back on track. You can get stops and rebounds. It's not about how many points did he score. No, the offense was predicated around Michael Jordan. Jordan has so much usage. The best players in the NBA have so much usage. It's going to be hard to stop them from getting to their average. The only thing you can do as a great defensive player is slow them down. All right, make it hard. Affect their field goal percentage. All right, by the time the fourth quarter comes around, they're worn down. All right, their legs are gone. They can't make those tough shots. That's what you need to hope for from a great defender, especially in a league like the NBA where you have so many great and elite offensive players. Coming from someone who supposedly plays semi-pro basketball, that's got to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I mean, Jesus Christ. Dennis Rodman couldn't play defense? And y'all say I bashed the 90s. You got 90s fans who bash their 90s just for Jordan. There's absolutely no need to make that statement. Absolutely no need to jump out there and make such a false statement. But you put yourself out there, you jump in front of that truck, and I'm just going to hit the gas and keep going through you. Because again, like I said, y'all, $25 Cash App if you can find a dumber basketball take. And Tick has made some dumb basketball takes. I think this might be the number one dumbest basketball take that he's had all time. I want you guys to please send me the video if you find him saying something dumber than this. That's absolutely ridiculous what he just said right there. All right. You guys let me know what you think about this video. I could go on all day about this right here because that's complete disrespect to a Hall of Famer who earned it, came out every night, gave it to you. Who put in work, whatever team he was on, whatever the situation he was in, whatever he did off the court, whatever he involved himself in, the man showed up game time ready to go. And he didn't just do one thing. He was great at a number of things. Yep. And just like every NBA player, including Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan had a role. Jordan's role was to score and defend. Rodman's role was to rebound and defend. Score when necessary. So because he didn't do the flashy layups and the pretty fadeaways and make the buzzer beaters like Jordan did. He didn't do all that. But he doesn't win a championship. Jordan doesn't have a second three-peat without Rodman. Jordan does not have a second three-peat without Dennis Rodman. We saw how they struggled without Horace Grant. And they needed Dennis Rodman. The best rebounder in the game. One of the best defenders of the 90s, they needed him. And there's no need to diminish a guy like this, especially with what he was able to do on court alongside Michael Jordan. Hey, it's FYF Sports, man. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you haven't done so already. Again, we just had to go into max ether mode today because this is, like I said, sometimes some people, like I said, I mean, I guess it's just about sounding right. Sometimes you just like saying things to sound right without doing no research, no homework, no documentation, no evidence, no video to back it up. You just say things, and your arguments are very illogical. Doesn't surprise me. It's coming from a very illogical person, very extremely illogical, not very intelligent. And that's not hate or shade. That's just truth. That's just factual. That's not hate or shade. That's just all facts. All right. You got to redeem yourself off that. You said you probably made the dumbest basketball argument of 2020. All right. You got to redeem that, because that's forever etched on video. Hey, but it's FYF Sports, man. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Please let me know what you think about this in the comments. All right, because every 90s fan that comes at me for my 90s takes, you need to be coming at this man for every retarded sentence that he said about Dennis Rodman. That was absolutely asinine. Makes no sense at all. Again, like you guys, man, appreciate the love and support so far, man. We grinding, we doing what we got to do. All right, 15K, and we moving up. Again, everything's trending upward with this channel. All right, people gonna have their comments, opinions, allegations, whatever. They're gonna say this, that, and the other. We keep it moving. Again, it doesn't affect us. We laugh, we sip our tea or whatever we sipping on. We keep it moving. Oh, to update you guys about part 3. I made the executive decision. Part 3 of the Epic series. We're actually gonna go ahead and just drop that on the Patreon. I had to think long and hard about that. Again, I mean, I know a lot of you guys look forward to seeing part 3, but I mean, there's a large portion of the subscriber base that they don't know TicketTV. They don't know the backstory, and it's done is just led to a lot of people. You know, I had literally hundreds of people on Instagram and Twitter hitting me up saying, what's this video? What's going on? Who is CJ? Who's TicketTV? Who's this? All right. So again, if this story, I've given you part 1 and 2 for free. If you're invested in this story, if you want to see how the rest of the investigation goes, make sure you go to the link in the description. Go sign up for our Patreon. And you'll be able to watch the video on Patreon. So to give you guys enough time to sign up, I'll be dropping the video on Patreon. I'll be dropping it Saturday morning. So again, if you want to see part 3, that's where it's going to be at. Again, I just want to kind of keep that separate because it's kind of just throwing a lot of people off, and a lot of people don't know the backstory with regards to what happened with CJ, the allegations of the fake accounts and things of that nature. I mean, it is a fun story to kind of follow, especially if you're invested, if you're a fan of TicketTV, if you like to come over here and you just kind of really want to know what was going on. That's actually going to drop on Patreon. So like I said, I didn't want to string you guys along any further. I just wanted to let you know the decision that was made on that. And then on top of that, man, I like really keeping this channel about sports, news, reaction videos, things of that nature. And that, especially part 3, it can get a little. It's probably going to be very sensitive to some people because it can dive into some personal issues. It can dive into some personal information. You know, people. You know, again, the people involved in this particular issue are very sloppy. They're still being sloppy, and it's unfortunate that they wish to carry on this charade, just to try to make or create a fake narrative that, you know, that was something that CJ did. So again, if you're invested in that story, please make sure you go to the link in the description, sign up for the Patreon. It's just another way to support the channel. We have a lot of videos and information that's going to go on there. Locker room interviews. So when we're going to be doing locker room interviews with pro players. We're gonna be doing professional sports interviews. All of that stuff is gonna be going on the Patreon. Just special content for the people who really like to at least support the channel from a financial standpoint. So for those people, I want to give you special content, and it'll be found in the Patreon. We're also going to be starting a members only section here on YouTube. That information, those videos, you will have access to those videos as well. If you're signed up for a member. So whenever you see that become active, we'll drop a video on it. Sign up, join. And again, that's another way, if you don't want to join Patreon, That's another way for you to gain access to all of these videos, whether it's locker room interviews with professional players, sports players. We got WNBA players coming. We got, I secured an interview with a former player who actually played with Michael Jordan in that championship run. So he's going to be coming on. All of that information is going to be on either the membership videos here on YouTube or on the Patreon here, FYF Sports. So hopefully, hopefully that doesn't disappoint you too much. But there's always a method to the madness. It's about keeping this channel directed towards a certain purpose. We got one goal here. That's to continue to grind in this sport, in this realm of sports. And I want to try to keep it that way. But FYF Sports, man, has been another great Ether video. All right. Again, make sure you guys, engage, like, comment, and subscribe. But we'll be back with more live videos, sports and news later. But until then,
they don't want to see me win. No, they don't wanna see me win. They must be up the pucky way they trippin'. Just tryna get to that money, I ain't saying that. Why they tryna send up right to jail? All I wanna do is get this money and perfect. Police knocking on my door, I don't know what to do. I look like a fool, what they tryna see me do? Body on me, I don't know what I've done. I'm just trying to get to the money, then the police come. I'm done. I might have to live my life on the run, yeah, or some, yeah. I don't want no court case. I just wanna get this money in the case. Put it in the safe, Bobby's in the rain, cause I ain't feeling safe, yeah. They wanna take me away, yeah. I don't wanna go to jail, yeah. They wanna take me away, yeah. Pulling the clip out of love, pulling your tongue out of love. You ain't the shit better stop, cause I'm gonna make a control. I'm gonna make a control, yeah. In a black potion, off I do una. I can no stop that, no. I don't wanna let a young back go. Yeah, I wanna send me, yeah. I don't wanna go to jail, yeah. I don't wanna go to jail, yeah. They don't wanna see me win, no, they don't wanna see me win. They must be up the pucky way they trippin'. Just tryna get to that money, I ain't saying that. Why they tryna send up right to jail? All I wanna do is get this money and perfect. Police knocking on my door, I don't know what to do. I look like a fool, what they tryna see me do?